the Viper mid, almost certainly here for Alliance.
So they're trusting Limp to win that lane, or to tie that lane regardless. If you go for another Toxin build and you push the lane, I think it's kind of fine. Not a complete crush for the Viper, so they might see it as that. Brew is a great tempo hero. Very strong against Razor, I would say, as well in the mid game because of the Cyclone, and against the Axe. But the carry will have a relatively free lane, even if it's Brew, Lion. There's a lot of carries that can deal with this. What is Unique going to go for? It's Palantimos. He's a ranged hero player. Drow's not available because of the Spectre. They took away his Luna, which was the best pick here.
DOTA also removed from the pool. The one thing I'm kind of scared of, the Gyro would come to mind, but it's a bit of a difficult matchup for you, especially because you're going to be paired versus a Lion most likely, and then you can just go for the Cinder Brew build and just kind of take him down pretty easily. The lane seems damn difficult here for the Gyro there.
Any of the mixed damage heroes like Gyro or Juggernaut, for example, is on the hero that gets countered fairly by Winter Wyvern, doesn't look too good. Similar with Sven, which is very good against Brew, and against Spectre is decent, but will struggle against Winter Wyvern.
TV would be an option here. I think it's very scary to run that versus the Wyvern, of course, but I think that's...
And against Brew, because he deals with your illusions relatively easily and cyclones you. I don't know. It's a tough one for Unique. Let me see.
I will go for the TV. It was kind of just the best hero left. It's something that'll at least win the lane, right? It's that you can kind of go to the jungle and start farming, and we know how quickly the TV can farm. And he was one of the biggest heroes at the major, I would say, at least for EG anyway, right? 100% win rate, except until the grand finals on the hero. I think I like it, though. I think I like it, to be honest. I think it was the best pick that they had left.
Yeah, I agree with that notion. Because he still has a very good core-to-core against Spectre, right? So you win that one. The Viper won't bother you too much, but then you have Lion, Winter Wyvern, and Brewmaster, all of which are pretty good against TB, right? I like Alliance's draft a bit more, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah. I'd agree with you, especially because I think if there was something we definitely saw a lot at the major, it was, I think, one Aghanim Shard in particular that really outshined the rest. It was definitely the Lion Shard, in particular versus Terrorblade matchups. You just immediately are deleting all of his illusions on a 5-second cooldown. You're spell immune for the 4-second channel as well, which is not going to let the Willow or the Hoodwink really do much of anything to you at all. And it really feels awful for an Axe to have to jump a Lion in the middle of these crazy, chaotic fights when you have someone else like a Brewmaster, who should also be pretty high priority lockdown.
Yeah, it's a tough game. I agree with you, because there's just so many ways to deal with both the Razor illusions and the Razor himself in the mid game. The only advantage I see here or the big advantage I see for them is that you have good matchups for the lanes for the most part. I think the TV versus Brew struggles sometimes, especially with the Cinder Brew build, because there's a lot of magical damage to be dealt there. But you should be able to deal with it decently. The Razor can create a lot of space, and then if you bring this into the late game, you're doing well. If this goes late, like your core-to-core is good, Lion's damage falls off eventually. Ideally, Axe maybe has to consider a pipe just to prevent the TB, or you get something along the lines of any sort of save really for the TB, and yeah, you can kind of make it work. But I still like Alliance's draft for the most part. I feel like they have a much easier time playing this game.
Yep, agreed. I think the fights come a bit more naturally to them as they will look for first blood. Unfortunately, Lion slowed to a crawl here thanks to the Acorn shot. And next, the Plasma Field will end up dropping for first blood. Kill going on over to scene with the Slayer.
Yeah, giving the first blood over to Unique. Definitely not what Alliance is looking for. Luckily, at least it wasn't giving it to FN, because if FN got that, then Limp's lane becomes really difficult. But we'll see. I think a lot of it is depending on this mid lane matchup, honestly. If Limp can successfully play this mid lane matchup with, that Toxin pushing into the lane, farm kind of the jungle like he did against Team Spirit, and he kind of stabilizes into the mid game, forcing Razor either to gank other lanes so he can match him or whatever. It's not looking so bad for Alliance. But if the Razor dominates this matchup, then Unique's planning sets into motion. With the Axe especially, you have a nice ganking squad there.
Yeah, exactly. Even against a hero, 2 tanky heroes actually, right? Because we actually have 2 heroes with another Toxin isn't a passive anymore, but still 2 very powerful passives. One being on the Viper and a couple here on Nico Baby. So everyone is killable here, pretty much. Once Unique gets pretty much, I want to say, Blink Dagger on Axe, I think is basically their go time. I think that can be used to create a ton of space here for our Terrorblade, and Again, if you're just joining us for our coverage here on the B stream, welcome. Thanks for dropping in, and of course you are watching Alliance versus Team Unique Alliance with a bit of an org change. PPD no longer coaching effectively of, I would suppose, at least this tournament.
Yes, which we'll see the change. Maybe Alliance plays better. Maybe Alliance plays exactly the same, and that's why I decided I didn't have to use PPD any longer. What matters to me is that we get to watch Alliance plays. You know, the coaches are very important. I'm sure that I'm very sad that PPD left the org, but I am happy to still see the players play together. That's the main concern. No changes for Alliance itself, and I don't think this should change their playstyle too much. We'll see how this game goes for them. This will be the first trial of this difficult tournament.
It shall, and of course it will get more difficult from here, at least according to the seeding it will. Winner of this best of 3 moving on to play Team Secret at the end of today.
Is it going to get harder? Well, we'll see. I mean, Secret in the Major was not looking too good.
I would agree with you there. That's why I said little caveat, at least according to the seeding. We'll see. Perhaps Secret just taking it easy, relaxing a little bit, and getting ready for the international, saving their energy for that.
Sometimes when the people are relaxing, they actually play the strongest, honestly, because there's zero pressure as well. The pressure just gets into the team's mind. I feel like this. We'll see. We'll see how this matchup goes. I'm excited to watch Limp already going for the first point in corrosive skin. He's done this. I've seen this before as well. I forgot who it was against that he played exactly the same. But you go for the first point in corrosive skin just so they just can't do much to you. They can't follow after you, of course, with the pulsar field, and you just try to last it because your projectile speed's quite nice. Your damage is actually not that bad. You don't play the harassment lane because you know you can't. And then second point, usually into another toxin to push the lane out.
Oh, they will get first blood top lane though in the meantime. Quick little pause now from Bignum.
Sorry?
Quick sorry. Says, I just had to kill you. I was lagging when I killed you. I was dropping half of my frames, and I still managed to get first blood there onto the Wyvern. So top lane going pretty nice so far. Axe actually starting off with a double gauntlets of strength, so just looking to be as tanky as possible in this lane, and then pretty much straight into the Vanguard by the looks of it things. Actually, is this a game where you consider going Hooded Defiance first item on Axe?
I think it's justifiable, honestly. I mean, the issue with... what I've seen, which I don't mind, is you can go for the... Was it Vanguard into then Hood? Because I feel like you can... Was it the Vanguard you can disassemble? I forget which one of the two you can disassemble. I think it was you can disassemble Vanguard. 1 second. And then you go for the Vanguard first, just so you can push the tower, because that's the main point, right? And then you would assemble later into the pipe, because of course you need that magic resistance this game, more so than the physical resistance. I don't think it's that important. Let me just check. I just wanted to check, because I was talking...
The only concern I have with going for something like that, you know, the God King Hualien sort of style of disassembling everything and being as efficient as possible, is that at the end of the day, for Axe, it's all about this Blink Dagger timing for him this game, right? You just need to be that enabler for the rest of your team. No one else really is going to be able to jump targets in the early game as easily as you will be able to do. So that's going to be
okay.
the one
you could assemble Vanguard. I wasn't crazy. Okay, great. I just had to double check that. I had a moment of doubt. Yes, but the point of this build though is you go for the Vanguard Blink Dagger, and then you disassemble the Vanguard into the mid game for a pipe, and then you become. So at first you can create a tempo as an Axe by pushing towers and by getting kills relatively easily, because with Vanguard you're pretty much immortal. And then to the mid game, when the enemy team's magical damage starts to become more relevant because the supports get levels, you can get a Hood and later even a pipe, right, with that Ring of Health. And then that's super. I mean, it's a very efficient lineup, or a very efficient way to build up, and it's a very useful way to get the best of both worlds this game as an Axe. Because Axe as an aura offlaner kind of sucks, unfortunately, so you kind of have to make it work with both. And I think that's an idea here for Ghostik if he wants to still be efficient with the Axe.
I think I was looking at a bunch of like the hero combos with Terrorblade, because from the last patch when we saw a lot of TB, I felt like he was enabled by the most part by a lot of his supports, right? And that's still true to a certain extent here. A little smiley face out from Alliance, who themselves have paused a couple of times, but. He's still enabled by the supports, but we don't have like the kind of super Omega boosters. Specifically, I'm referring to the Coddle, right? Coddle's kind of basically unseen this patch. He was super nice to have because he gave him a ton of mobility, shortened the cooldown, of course, on the Metamorphosis, but most importantly, shortened cooldown to a ridiculous degree on the Conjure Image, which just allowed him to farm everything, push so many waves. But he still does a lot nicer with heroes that can give him a lot of control in team fights, like the Mars, like the Axe here. But he does need to hit these calls. Of course, Axe calls stronger, but harder to hit than a Mars Arena.
Yeah, you have some heroes that are relatively easy to hit with the call itself, though, particularly the Viper and the Spectre. Brew probably can get away from it. I mean, Lion and Winter Wyvern should be in the backlines, depends on the positioning. But Viper and Spectre are not the most... I mean, you have Spectre Dagger, sure, but they don't have a blink or anything to be able to avoid the Axe call. The only difficulty will be the Cyclone, so maybe the Axe does have to, instead of opting for the pipe, go for a BKB immediately, just so you can actually initiate without the worry of the Cyclone hitting you. We'll see how S4 plays it. Because some brew players like to, when they're playing against these strong initiators like Axe or like the Tidehunter, they will use the Primal Split before the fight as opposed to baiting it, and then you'll have the Cyclone ready immediately. Because that's your most powerful ability on the Brewmaster, by a long shot, honestly. Or you can use the Cyclone on the TB once the call hits, and then you don't have any damage. There's options. I feel like the TP dispatch doesn't need to be boosted as much because of the fact that you're just very good against the meta that's running.
Yeah.
Brew is not part of the meta, I would say, but these tanky offlaners that have been run a lot struggle against the TB. In the lane, they don't bully him as much. He can always go jungle to recover if their lane is really good, and he can really beat them into the mid game because they're not very mobile except for the Centaur.
Yep. First point, by the way, in Reflection here. Valentimos now getting the points in the Metamorphosis. Will immediately activate it. Was looking for bonus damage, but nice Earth Spike stun coming through to minimize that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like for the most part, what we've kind of covered is, as far as this TB goes and his illusions specifically, we've got those covered on Alliance,
yeah, that's
right?
True.
We've got, that should not be the issue. To me, I think actually the Razor, if he goes unchecked here, and Limp doing a good job forcing him into tower already with the 5 stacks of the poison, needs to keep him in check.
Yep. I'm surprised by this. They didn't even need to push the lane whatsoever. FN is just struggling to play around the cooldowns. The static link cooldown at their levels is pretty bad. So you can just play around level 1, level 2 static link. Once he hits level 5 on Razor, I can imagine you can bully the Viper fully, but for now, Limp has been doing a pretty good job of avoiding getting completely pushed out. His positioning has been really good this game.
FN looking for the water rune still there. That's going to be another refill here pretty soon for Limp, just making sure he can get all the CS. Didn't get that range one, but it wasn't denied, and he was there for the XP anyway. Top lane, though, Ghostic doing pretty well in this lane, I would say. 12 and 5 versus the Spectre and the Wyvern. Not a weak lane whatsoever. Definitely at its weakest stage for now, but with the Arctic Burn, that does quite a fair chunk of change of damage here to Ghostic's Axe.
Yeah, that's true. Wyvern also a solution to these kind of tanky offlaners a bit. And because you have so much range with that Winter Wyvern, you don't really need to care about that counter helix very often. Spectre can play around the trees, doesn't need to hit Axe too much. Just wants to hit trees, hit Crypts, mind you. So it's looking decent for Alliance. I mean, that mid lane was my biggest concern, and it seemed fine for them. Now, Limp has managed to avoid the strength of the static link, but Razor's playing more and more aggressively as time goes on. FN just trying to kick Limp out of the lane to destroy the assets here.
Yep. Cheeky little point in the Storm Surge. That bonus move speed to try and offset the corrosive skin slow is going to be pretty darn nice, or just the slows, really, overall.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of playing around the trees, right, as we look more and more into these mid to late game team fights, Wyvern famous for playing around the trees, just using Arctic Burn to pop out, cast the ulti when you need to. I'd be curious to see how the Willow, or sorry, not the Willow, how the Hoodwink, rather, is going to be looking to counterplay her, if at all.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, into the mid game, that tree gets vision and the Acorn shot shoots, right? So it's kind of easy to use her around the trees. Scurry as well, just between them. She's going to be going for the pushback build that everyone's been abusing because this ability is honestly broken. But Slayer blowing a 5 Hoodwink. I've seen this, I think we saw it once in the major, I want to believe. But I'm not the biggest fan. I think 4 is much stronger because you can gank. Right now, you're really just securing a lane. It seems to be working though for the TB, so I mean, it seems like they're happy. They don't need to play super high tempo with this TB anyway. And the Brewmaster, like I said, one of his weakest parts is the laning stage. He also went for the Drunken Brawler build, which is kind of weak against TB. Top lane, Ghostic. There's an attempt on his life here as Nico Baby's chasing him down. He's been soloed by the Arctic Burn. Ghostic might just die here. Hits Nico Baby, doesn't care. Nico Baby gets healed by F&G. And Bignum will just kind of hit him with rage there, like a little child having a tantrum. Trying to kill him with that Shadow Realm, not going to work on Nico Baby. Already 2 points in Dispersion. That's going to be enough to survive that. Of course, the help of the Cold Embrace.
Team of the Slayer saying hello to Hanskin, who was maybe looking to place an aggressive ward in the jungle, expecting the TB to start his jungling pretty soon. So Slayer, nice little river ward here, is just going to let him know whenever the line is making this move unless he uses a smoke. So I like the play. Vision of the utmost important, of course, in all games, but especially this game when you do have a hero as predictable as the TB is.
Yep. S4, there's the Bushwhack. I said the skill is a bit dumb, but they don't have any more catch for him, no Metamorphosis, so it's just Slayer keeping the lane in check, making sure S4 can have the easiest lane in the world. He did go for the Ring of Health already to be able to withstand most of the Hoodwink's damage. This hero is more about the catch and the mobility you have. The damage is just not that high, unless you build it like a core. Bignum, Hanskin is going to find him here. He's protecting the rune. Not very successfully, though, as now they're going to go on him. Limp can't attack him any longer thanks to the Shadow Realm. Limp thinking of taking the long route, but he's also going to his high ground. No point in playing that any more aggressively. FN goes back to the lane, hoping to attack Limp. Gets hit by the Viper Strike immediately. In fact, they can attack him. Hanskin, oh, the Bushwhack catches two. And now the counter initiation from Bignum. They save Hanskin here with that Cold Embrace, forcing Unique to retreat. Hanskin needs to keep his distance. Battlefield will slow him. That's the max damage Battlefield. FN considering going in again, but Alliance is doing a really good job of keeping their distance. That Acorn shot misses on Hanskin, which allows him to survive.
Yeah, that was really close, just on a knife's edge there, basically. And man, that's 1 point in the Cold Embrace, just completely almost, you know, actually just fully saving the line.
2 points. Yeah. 2 points, actually.
Is it?
Oh, sorry, no. Cold Embrace, my bad. Arctic Burn was,
just
1 point.
Healing the Lion, and he's totally good to go. It looks like that was going to be a great punish from the Hoodwink. You mentioned how they were able to no rune spawn top lane. That's because Hoodwink was able to find it. Almost looks like they were able to turn that into a successful counterplay in the mid lane. Alliance, like many teams, but they've been really, really strict, especially in a lane where you can leave your safe laner and off laner alone to rotate both supports on over for a kill attempt at minute 6. They almost got it. Unfortunately, Willow just a little bit too survivable thanks to the Shadow Realm. She is going to be looking for the D ward here. We'll be able to beat the Wyvern to the punch there, getting the vision off the map, the most important part there.
Yeah, exactly. Getting the gold as well for them. So, little win there for Bignum. It seems like Alliance is struggling to make these lanes work. I mean, they're just going to be losing the early game as expected. They have to recover kind of in the mid game with the Brew and the Genki squad we talked about earlier. Brew now finally getting a couple points of Cinder Brew, which allows him to actually be more aggressive. Drunken Brawler is nice for the lane, particularly against melee heroes, but it just doesn't do much to get the quick kills you're looking for with the smokes. He's looking for Slayer here, but Slayer in the trees. No Scurry, by the way. He's just really good at positioning.
Yep.
I'm surprised he didn't go for the single point of Scurry, which is, I think, super high value.
I think that should be his next point, especially because, of course, TB already in the jungle. You're going to be looking to delay this push as long as possible. We'll see here. Has that 5th skill point. What he'll decide to do with it. But just looking to delay the push. You know, it's definitely a hero here, the Hoodwink, that can just continuously de-push these waves. That's actually a huge benefit here to the supports. Really, of both sides, I would say Bignum probably needs to commit a Bedlam to nuke a wave, but both of these supports can pretty easily nuke a wave. Wyvern especially, as here go Unique, the first smoke movement into the jungle. They're going to use it for a D ward, though. I found unable to find anyone in the triangle immediately farming. Looks like there's going to be a counter smoke now from Alliance. Nice sentry here from FNG. They've done their research. They know that Unique like to plant the deep wards, as that's going to force Ghostic to stop cutting waves so far away from his tier 1 tower, and is going to give a little bit more breathing room here to the Spectre, who has not been off into the jungle yet. Pretty happy to continue laning. No
ultimates just yet for the supports in Alliance, so I mean, they can go for the smoke themselves, but they need some help from a core here if they want to get a kill. Seems like the objective is to go for FN. It is literally double their level. I think is a tall order.
Yep. It's, by the way, Echo Saber queued up for Nico Baby, pretty much committing with the Oblivion staff.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, this build gives you a lot of tempo, which you kind of need when you see your lanes not going too well, right? So
here comes the smoke.
It gives you some ganking potential. Let's see FN the target, but FN just goes on him. He's like, sure, yeah, attack me. Where's your finger of death? There's the axe coming in as well. FN has an illusion room, dispels the Arctic Burn, Splinter Blast still hits. But Lions will be kept at bay. They did rotate S4 here, hoping to get that kill. In the end, they forced a Unique forced a rotation without having to really use anything. I mean, an Eye of the Storm, which FN can use to farm. Not a big deal for them. Hoodwink is even getting some levels down bottom. We saw Quincy Crew do something similar with her Hoodwink to get some good golden experience early and play her as a semi-core.
Hoodwink just feels like the better Treant Protector. Obviously, you don't do Treant Protector things as good as he does. You know, you don't give the healing, you don't give the slows, or
so
the
overgrowth. What is Treant Protector about her?
It's you're able to just play a lane. Like your team can just leave you. You can just continuously defend a tower, push the lane, run off into the trees, and be a huge annoyance if the enemy draft is not well suited for hunting you down. Right?
Yeah. I agree. Okay, I can see that point. Yeah, that's a very good point. She doesn't heal towers, though, unfortunately.
No,
Right.
of course, yeah, that's a big difference. She's also tiny compared to a massive tree, but you know, I'm sure they've.
To add to that point, I was going to say that the bushwhack also takes the vision away from the creeps, right, when you hit it. So because of that, you can actually push a lane relatively easily without being caught out, because the enemy team literally does not see you, even if you're hitting the creeps. There's actually a little trick that a lot of hoodwinks will do when they're trying to cut lanes, particularly.
That's a good point. Bignum again, just being a bit more annoying in the mid lane, looking to try and actually has managed to kill the wagon, but S4 coming from this side. Terrorize only going to catch Limp as Slayer now looking to set up for the kill onto the Wyvern with a sharpshooter. They're going to find it. However, in trouble is FN underneath the tier 2 tower. That dives too far, decides S4, as he will now turn instead, look for the Willow, lifting the Hoodwink in the process, trying to escape, but straight to the Brambles, and now the Bedlam, he goes! That's going to be 2 dead on the side of Alliance, trying to make use of that first primal split.
Well, in the end, Unique get 2 free kills, pretty much. They went a bit far there for the kill on Razor. It seems Alliance is kind of desperate to do something here, forcing things that don't really benefit them too much. I mean, we can see by the fact that Nico maybe doesn't even think about haunting in, wasn't really considering going for that kill, despite him already having the Echo Saber. Limp is just farming, and to some degree also pushing on the top lane. Unique's not really doing a ganking squad. They're just, the kills are coming to them.
It does at
they
least...
are getting DHL delivered there.
Absolutely. It does open up at least bottom for a bit of creep push. Of course, having the having no Wyvern, I should say, thanks to the Hoodwink rotating on through, means that they're able to get a little bit of tower damage in exchange for losing their own tower. Denied, of course, but losing it basically just to the creeps. Haven't seen Axe in some time. That would be because he's already got the Vanguard plus a second item on the way. It's the Blink Dagger. 12 minutes Blink Vanguard here for the Axe, on top of one of the better neutral items for him this early on, the Shipped Vest. He's in a great spot here.
It really is. Now you start ganking completely. I mean, Willow is essentially a low-key lion with a bedlam. There we go. Bignum already knew this. Hoodwink doesn't even need to smoke because he had the scurry, so he can always just surprise with that. Sharpshooter can also go from a long distance here, and it'll be the Willow leading this charge. Acorn shot for some vision. Slayer finds the ward. Limp, is he gonna guess this correctly? Ghost Stick with a Blink Dagger is gonna be the reveal on.
You don't want to jump into that Nether Toxin though.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
You won't kill him with that. And he has Groza skin as well, so Bedlam won't be as effective either. It's maxed as well. Like, you need the Sharpshooter ready.
Now at least make best use of their time, planting a ward on the way back out, looking for maybe a better engagement on the next go-around. Good positioning here from FNG. He is underneath a ward. But he's going to be, was at the ready, as they thought, you know, looking for a smoke play into the tier 1 tower, but both teams kind of content to just be farming. It should be Unique really, you know, continuing to look for these kills, especially with the Blink Dagger reveal on Ghost Stick. But both teams for now, I mean, there's the Blink reveal now underneath the ward, but they should eventually start looking for kills here, I would say, on Unique. Otherwise, it feels like the Axe is eventually going to fall off.
Yeah, I mean, the X is still a useful late game hero, but I agree, like, you need to be able to use this power spike with a Blink Vanguard. Why else would you go build a Vanguard this game, right? You're not covering yourself against anything, really, but the towers. S4 just took a free tower down bottom. This is the moment where both teams swap jungles, and it's kind of obvious where both teams are, really, but as Unique, you can't really go into the enemy triangle because there's a Viper protecting it. And even if he went for the Boots of Travel, he's still strong enough to fight.
Yeah. This doesn't bode well either for the rest of Unique. If you look at what FN is building, he's almost finished up the BKB. Still needs about 1,000 more for the recipe. But with BKB, that is a fighting item. You don't want to, you don't need a BKB to farm Ancients or anything like that. You're going to be looking to just run into fights and completely dismantle what Alliance have in the early game and look to build an advantage. If you're not finding fights right now, I think they're still going to struggle to find fights later on with the BKB online. And this isn't really the fault of Unique. It's just Alliance, I think, reading the situation extremely well.
That's true. Alliance is making a good call to avoid fights. They always have that little issue in the back of their mind that, oh, well, if this goes late, TB versus Spectre, not the greatest matchup, though, so they're going to have to be concerned about that. S4 just running in. He has the split, not going to get it off, though. Curse Crown onto that onto that Cold Embrace, but S4 will survive there. Bignum instead will be brought down relatively easy by Alliance.
Yep. So there's a Limp now. BOT's finished up, so he can be looking to split push waves, as well as just making sure that they can give not too many easy opportunities for Unique Unique to start fights off. If all your lanes are constantly shoved in because you have a Spectre who, you know, can kind of just farm on weird parts of the map and then haunt into the fight immediately, Limp as well with the BOT is able to split push, it's going to make it really difficult for Unique to get vision on Alliance and look to set up these kills. So good itemization from Limp, and now they're going to try and siege the tier 1 tower at mid lane with the wagon, even going so far as to use the Fortify. Unique holding on to one of their own. Without FNG showing on the map, this is a really difficult jump in. Again, two very high priority heroes at this stage for fights. Both the Wyvern as well as S4, basically they need to go down.
Oh, Limp. Well, that Cold Embrace, all Unique is just waiting, biding their times. Like, can we go in? Can we just murder Limp here? But you know that Spectre can join in the fight, and your Razor's not going to be able to. Neither is the TP, so Alliance is taking advantage of their own power spikes. And maybe the passivity by Unique. I mean, like you said, the BKB on FN about to be finished now. It should be time for Unique to force these fights, even if it's 4-on-5 engagements, because you just have the stronger heroes.
Yeah. And regrettably here for Unique, especially FN, is now that completed BKB on its way to him in the courier. We've got one of the best BKB counters in the entire game, right? It's going to be the Wyvern. Of course, they did slightly rework the ultimate. If there's no enemy heroes or creeps around the unit, it only lasts 1.5 seconds compared to the normal duration. So you still need to make sure you hit someone with that, but it's already such a powerful tool versus the rest of Unique. The fact that you went BKB first and FNG should be able to counter you with it is going to make his positioning, you know, super crucial in this BKB reveal fight. Unfortunately, they're not going to get much of a reveal. Nice ward planted from Alliance, so they are going to have eyes on the FN BKB. He'll show it off to the creep wave here anyway, but it will at least be effective in pushing Alliance a little bit away from their tier 1 tower.
We'll see as they push up this tower. Unique thinking about the Roshan. They are Radiant after all, so they could potentially take it, but not sneakily. Don't have a good Roshan lined up. They need a kill at least.
No,
Limp might be that kill.
I was going to say, yeah, we need a kill because we just don't control Roshan good in general, right? But once you look at the enemy 5 heroes on Alliance, I mean, my goodness, they've got some Rosh control here. Basically just the Wyvern alone, right?
Limp, he knows. I mean, he's invisible, so that was a relatively lucky invis rune. This game is just not going either way, man. Unique is not interested in fighting, even though they're looking for kills, but they just can't find them, rather. And Alliance is definitely not interested in fighting, just trying to find some more farm on Nico Baby. To me, the question is, how will they deal with the TB eventually? Because they do want to gank him to some degree with this combo of Lion Brewmaster. And Unique is like, you know, we're done. We're getting the gank squad together. Yep, the boys are back in town.
But it's been scouted by the ward here. Ghostic might be able to counter-initiate.
That's a good ward. Hanskin, at least. Okay, you get a support kill, but in comes S4. Hanskin's already dead. The primal split. They try to initiate onto the Hoodwink with a Haunt on top of that. Want to kill the Squirrel. The Hoodwink almost gets away, but unfortunately Slayer is going to be bursted down. Winter's Curse sets up on Ghostic as well. And they're going to creep around it.
In trouble. He's dead. FN pops the BKB, just runs him down. Palantimos as well with a bit of damage out from the Metamorphosis. Axe caught on the back lines is now going to try and counter-initiate onto the Spectre. Has no Haunt, rooted up. Still good, just too darn tanky. The Cold Embrace is still keeping Nico Baby alive, and he will be able to back off safely. It's going to be a 1-for-2 trade at the end of the day in favor of Unique.
Okay. Kind of a win for Unique in the end, because they also get the Viper in the process, right? A bit out of position for Limp. You even get a tower here in the mid lane. There's finally the engagement they were looking for. Alliance responded. I mean, they didn't respond badly, but maybe they just didn't have to respond at all, and they just had to retreat from the get-go, because losing Limp there was definitely not the call.
Oh, unfortunately, they were kind of just split a little bit. I think they were a bit confused as to where everyone actually was in that fight. Ghostic kind of made it look like the rest of his team was in the jungle, when actuality the rest of Unique were kind of getting ready to push the tier 1 from the kind of Roche entrance to the river, if you will. So a nice engagement there. That's going to be the Blink Dagger paying off.
Oh, S4's in trouble. Berserker's call. He doesn't have the primal split either. I don't know, he's going to get away. He's not.
Nice to dunk at least with the wand, but of course that's not going to bother Ghostic too much when at the end of the day the Brewmaster is still dead. Fortunately, there's no meta. It was used in the last fight, and it's going to be on cooldown, so they can't easily look to go into Roshan after this. So that's at least a little bit of recompense for the likes of Alliance, who lost just a couple of heroes here in the last few minutes. 3K net worth lead, nothing to write home about here. Still pretty slow-paced game at this stage, but farming basically completely uncontested this game is Palantimos. We should kind of mention the elephant in the room as he does start to grow and grow next into the Eye of Scotty after the Dragonlance at full SNY.
That's what I was mentioning. I feel like that's the biggest concern you have. How do you deal with this TP if he gets fat enough? Eventually, the Lion Finger won't be enough to kill him. Neither will the Viper's measly magical damage or the Brew's initiation. And Brew that's, by the way, fallen behind. You need something against a TP, and Spectre is definitely not it. Especially a Spectre that can be broken by the Sharpshooter. It's looking a bit better for Unique. I was expecting Alliance to do a bit more in this mid-game as well. Like, yeah, we were saying Unique has to find kills, of course, but that's just because Alliance were losing. There's a point where Alliance needs to just start doing something, if anything, at least bothering the TV space, even if they can't kill him.
Yeah, really, really good screening, though, by Unique. Just all 4 of their heroes in the enemy jungle, planting wards. Part of the TV
nice
farming confidently behind, as there's going to be a jump onto FNG, Sharpshooter, and the dunk to set up for the kill. Believe we do have Metamorphosis. Yeah, we do have it available, but it looks like for now the call will be for a tier 2 tower, snag the outpost, and just set up shop in the enemy jungle.
Well played there by Unique. Nice little extra kill here. Without the help of the Cold Embrace, you're probably not going to be able to fight this, as it was the Winter Wyvern that kept alive from the Razor. Razor's having free reign. We said he was going to concern. FN is doing a really nice job. SNY on the way. Already has the Yasha to farm a bit faster. Alliance thinking of smoking in, waiting for the Wyvern to come back. Can you get a quick kill, or are you going a bit too fast? S4's already been revealed. He goes for the Will there. Immediate TP, cancelled by the Earth Spike. The Haunt as well, trying to find Ghost Stick, but they're concentrating instead on the supports. They kill Bignum first, and Slayer could also be in trouble as S4 sends him flying. Limp will make sure to kill Slayer. It's only going to be 2 support kills here for Alliance. They turn this into an objective. It's going to be Roshan they're going to go for.
Yep, and they can still go for this. It's really hard. No buyback on either of these supports. FNG just going to be on station here, ready to go for the Winter's Curse. And it looks, by the looks of it, Unique are not going to be willing to fight this. Man, did they chew through Roshan as well. He's basically already dead. Great initiation there from S4. Not wasting any time there, throwing down the ultimate. Just needs to send a message, boot Unique out from the jungle, get a quick couple of kills, and the objective immediately after. So now maybe a little bit of trembling here for Unique, and they're losing a pretty powerful objective. They're not going to be too eager to fight into the Spectre.
I don't think it's too concerning for Unique, but I mean, yeah, like you said, the objective was important. Oh, FN, the immediate Hex, Earth Spike. Do we have a finger? We do not, so killing him seems like a tall order for Alliance. No Haunt either. Nico A1 to join in, at least denies the ward. We already have Scotty at the TB, and now he's ready to fight himself, honestly, with his team.
Yeah, he most definitely is. And this is going to be such a punishing item as well for the Viper. Viper already, you know, pretty darn slow, even with BOTs. It does help him out quite a bit, but these percentage-based slows, especially on the range here, are going to be so punishing for him coming through from Palantimos. It's going to be really, really important for Alliance to try and keep these illusions off of, I mean, of course, everyone, if you can, right? Just kill Palantimos' forehead, but dealing with these illusions here, yeah, just using the mana drain is going to be the name of the game.
Yep, I agree. I mean, you can also have the Brew doing it with a Master Spell, so there's 2 options against these illusions. Still difficult. The Haunt is not yet ready, so defending the tower is also not the easiest of things, but Unique not looking to engage just yet. Just to dominate the enemy triangle, maybe put some aggressive wards here, push mid, push bottom.
Nice position.
You still are fighting against an Aegis.
Nice positioning by Alliance. We've seen kind of this spot behind the tier 2 tower used a lot in these cases, you know, just to kind of, you know, oh, is the team here? Are we not here? And with the clockwork, you just never know. There's the jump onto the Viper. Sharpshooter incoming as well. It's a 3-second channel. 4 staff away from Limp. BKB used by FN. He's going to be able to easily chop down the Viper. In the meantime, FNG taking a beating out from Palantimos, who's popped the Metamorphosis, will be killed off here relatively easily.
No chance. That was not the position they wanted. They're underestimating the ganking prowess of an Axe and a Hoodwink. We call him Squirrel again. Alliance, not the most mobile heroes we said in the early game, especially within the trees. Since the Bushwhack can always catch you, the Winter Wyvern is kind of an easy target. The Lion is burstable. Viper moves at the speed of my grandmother, so yeah. It's kind of a difficult match for Alliance. Like, they can't really correct their mistakes very often. The moment you're out of position, you're gonna die. Unless you have some sort of counter-initiation like the Hex or the Winter's Curse. But even then, it's a bit difficult. Your only save is really Cold Embrace, which might even just set up for the Bushwhack or sets up for the Berserker's Call. It's a tough one for Alliance right now to recover. They need to just keep pushing the lanes and hope that in the late game, Spectre can carry them.
Yeah, it is real difficult, right? Especially because Viper, it's not like he is I mean, especially as a mid laner, he's not going to be your tanky kind of hero that you might be used to if you think of old Viper. He's not really even like that anymore today, these days, I should say. But especially against a Scotty, there's the jump onto the Willow. Earthspike should be able to follow up, but they actually get off the Shadow Realm in between. Haunt is used to try and cut these backline supports. FN's going to TP away, but it looks like they're going to be able to just escape. No one's dead. Unique able to just disengage. They'll lose a tier 1 tower, but they won't lose any heroes, and they've got all the ultimates. They're going to go in for a fight here.
Resource-wise, that feels a bit bad for them. They just lost the Haunt, which means Spectre can't no longer engage as easily. Since you have the Aegis, there's no point for Unique to actually force a fight there or re-engage. We just got BKB on Ghostic as well, which means that he is now free to engage relatively easily. But S4 at least is nearing his Ags, which might be a turning point here for Alliance in their team fight.
I'd agree. I'd agree big time with that, actually. Now he doesn't need to, like, you know, blink in, thunderclap, hope he doesn't get stunned by either a bushwhack or the call to get off the ult. He can do it preemptively. He can do it, you know, in one of these kind of standoff situations just to kind of, you know, regain a bit of control and zone out these enemies a bit more. But that is still on the way for S4. It's on the way right now in his courier. A little bit left to play within this Aegis, only another 40 seconds, so Unique, of course, having timed it, most likely not going to be looking for a fight in this immediate time. We'll see.
They saw Spectre, though. They know there's no Haunt here as well, so they could just look at Ghostic. Yeah, he's like, let's go. Spectre can't join him.
Tier 2 is pushed in the meantime. First Tier 2 taken down. Make that second Tier 2 taken down, actually. Mid Tier 2 missing off the map from Alliance.
Unique has very good map control. This has given TB a successful amount of farm. I mean, 5k over the Spectre now. Even if the core-to-core matchup was good, it'd be tough already to beat the TB in this situation. His Butterfly is going to come soon as well. That's going to negate a fair amount of damage, particularly from the Viper. That might be your solution against TP. FNG, we still have the pushback. FNG don't get close to the trees, but it seems like they don't want to fight this. In fact, S4 already used his first charge of the Primal Split. Only to murder Slayer. Can he do so? It seems like Slayer's getting away for now. He still has a force stab. In fact, the fight is breaking in the mid lane. Bingham will dive first. Hanskin, the next target, FN, managing to kill the enemy support, but we actually see Nico in a bad spot. No Hunt. Palantinos, though, too slow. FN is forced to use that BKB second split to put the TP up in the air. Ghostic is trying to survive all these three pandas as Slayer actually catches them to limp with the pushback. Viper's going to die. The three pandas soon going to end, which means we'll be back to a single S4. They want to kill the Spectre. It's impossible. They stop the Brewmaster, but he uses the end of the Primal Split to make sure to end it onto a different panda, not the Earthling. And Unique won't be able to get that kill.
These fights are so hectic out from Alliance when they do engage, and I think that's going to be for the best, because they are playing behind from what is a terrifying Terrorblade at this stage. But the problem for them is it just makes these curses feel a little bit underwhelming. At the very least, with this Axe, you can chase for that long in these team fights, but still not the best fight for them at the end of the day. No. S4 using the first charge of the ultimate to try and just, you know, get rid of the squirrel from the team fight, does manage to do that, but she still rejoins and is able to get a crucial hit onto Limp, and actually the sharpshooter even dissuading the Spectre from re-engaging, as she did manage to snipe him later on in the trees.
Yeah, I mean, the issue that Alliance is having is that they're just going the they have a TB kind of route where they're trying to ignore the TB as best they can with Cyclones playing around them, but you also don't have the greatest ganking. Like, if you had a PL or something, at least can do that relatively successfully, sure. But Spectre is struggling to accomplish this, particularly without Haunt, which I'm very surprised they fought there without the Haunt, right? It's... You have an idea of how to play against a TB. I think tactically they're correct, but the heroes to do, like the heroes they have, are not the best, because your only burst damage really here is the Lion, perhaps. Maybe you can consider Brew somewhat burst, but he's struggling to keep himself alive, even with the Brewlings.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's
nice play there, at least by SF4, able to just kite them around, making sure that they weren't able to chase any further. Maybe that was them remembering. Oh, yep, the Axe not only gives a second charge, but allows you to end the ultimate on anyone. Oh, S4 walking right in the enemy team. The Haunt, though, comes through. They've missed the call, and now S4 terrorized. Can they get enough damage in? FN, the sharpshooter, is going to do him in. However, FNG to counter-initiate now with the Winter's Curse. It's a three-man curse onto the Axe. Plenty of damage. Nico Bami is dispatched of Slayer in the meantime. BKB active, but he's still ticking away. Ooh, Limp caught by that last little Brambles. Not going to be able to finish off Ghostic, unfortunately. So it ended up being a 1-for-1. The tier 2 tower still taken down. They're still fighting. Just Bignum but perhaps he can still look to escape here, and it looks like he will be able to TP away. The Hex in time from Hanskin. Aether Lens, of course, facilitating that. That's a 2-for-1. Both supports, though, once again for S4. Does not make this a great trade for Alliance, especially because they still end up losing yet another objective and aren't in a position to take anything really from Unique.
That's true. Again, these fights, when you have a Haunt, you can sort of evade the TB, you can go for the backline, and it kind of works. Like, you don't lose people, you get some kills on the supports. The idea is correct by Alliance, but when will you be able to kill the Razor or the Axe or the TB? If I talk about Axe, he jumps immediately onto Limp. The poor Viper's in trouble. Ghost Scepter to give him some space. Ghostic just chasing after him. There's the Battle Hunger to slow him down. Ghostic wants the skill, but his carry has already decided to let the Viper live. In fact, Ghostic is now in trouble. The Hex gonna stop Berserker's Call. Even the Finger of Death. Ghostic bursted down like a piñata. Alliance won't be able... Sorry, Unique won't be able to get the kill they were looking for there.
That was a Metamorphosis used for that one as well, and Roshan is going to be up within the next minute. So we're going to have a period of just about 20 seconds where we're going to have Haunt, we're going to have Winter's Curse, and we're going to have at least one charge of the Primal Split ready to go. And perhaps that's where Alliance can look to try and snag second Roche. We all know how powerful, especially second Roche is these days. So that could be quite the turning point here in favor of Alliance as we just take a look at that previous fight from before. Nice little micro blink from S4. Walks right into the enemy team, but at least is able to kind of clump them up a little bit tighter, making sure he's not caught by the call, which at least gives Alliance a chance to counter-initiate. It just doesn't end up working out for them from there, unfortunately.
And the guerrilla tactics are working for Alliance.